Elias Thorne was a world-renowned composer, a maestro whose music filled the grandest concert halls, but his true passion wasn't the roaring applause. It was a modest private academy he founded, Thorne's Legacy, a place where he nurtured the next generation of musicians. This academy, his life's work, was kept afloat by a major commission from the city's biggest arts patron. Elias felt the pressure of the deadline, but a different, more discordant note was creeping into his life. His wife, Isabel, was a celebrated concert pianist, 20 years younger, and once his student. His star protege, Julian, was a brilliant but arrogant cellist. Lately, Isabel and Julian had become inseparable duet partners, their collaboration extending far beyond the music room. One evening, Elias went back to the academy to grab a score he'd forgotten. As he neared his private office, he heard voices softly followed by Julian's low, possessive murmur. A maestro doesn't need to hear every word to recognize a melody of betrayal. He saw Julian hand Isabel a heavy, velvet box. Then their words became clear. "Don't worry about Elias," Julian said. "He's too absorbed in his little symphony to notice. He thinks that fat commission from Mr. Covington will solve all our problems." Isabel's laugh was cruel. "Elias's legacy's obsolete, darling. It's time for new composers, new patrons, and new owners for the academy." The truth hit Elias with a chilling rhythm. It wasn't just an affair. They were plotting to steal his academy. The velvet box held a deed to the property. Isabel, using her power of attorney, was going to sign it over to Julian, using the commission money as a fabricated excuse to settle a fake debt. Elias backed away silently, the score slipping from his fingers. He wouldn't scream. He would compose. For the next few weeks, Elias was the picture of dedication. He finished his new symphony, titled The Unraveling. He was strangely kind to Isabel, even agreeing to her suggestion that Julian be the featured soloist for the entire second movement. He was setting a stage, but not for the performance they expected. The night of the premiere arrived. The concert hall was packed. Isabel, stunning in a sapphire dress, sat in the front row, the velvet box tucked in her purse. The first movement, the overture of Trust, was beautiful, everything the audience expected. Then, as Elias raised his baton for the second movement, the fugue of Deception, he paused. He turned to the audience. "I want to dedicate this movement," he announced, his voice echoing through the silent hall, "to the two people who inspired it most, my wife, Isabel, and our gifted soloist, Julian. Their recent collaboration revealed to me a profound, unspoken truth." The spotlight hit Julian as the orchestra began, but the music was all wrong. It wasn't the heroic solo he had practiced. The cello score was a high-pitched, screeching wail, so simple yet so raw. It sounded like a dying animal. Julian sawed at his cello in a panic, while the orchestra played a strange counter-melody. Isabel's face shifted from confusion to pure horror. She recognized the notes not as music, but as the tones of her private text messages with Julian, transcribed for the orchestra to play. Suddenly, the orchestra went silent, leaving only a single, haunting oboe. It played a simple melody, Elias had written years ago the personal ringtone he had created for Isabel, a melody only she and Julian knew. Then, over the hall speakers, a recorded voice played. It was Julian. "I can't wait for Elias to sign the final papers after the gala. The academy will be ours." Isabel's voice followed instantly. "Just make sure the Covington money is transferred to the maintenance account before the final review. Elias is too much of a relic to follow the finances." Chaos erupted. The audience gasped. Mr. Covington, the patron, shot to his feet, his face red with fury. Julian dropped his bow and stumbled back. Elias tapped his baton, silencing the orchestra. He looked directly at Isabel. "The unraveling," he said softly, "is complete. Mr. Covington's funds were never for maintenance. They were secured to establish a permanent endowment for the Academy. The real Thorne's legacy," he continued. "And as of this morning, Isabel, per the revised agreement you signed, any attempt to sell or transfer the property before that endowment is finalized constitutes criminal fraud." He then turned to Mr. Covington. "Sir, I recorded this final movement weeks ago and ensured the authorities have copies of all the revised legal documents." On cue, police officers who had been waiting backstage moved toward Isabel and Julian. Isabel was frozen, clutching the purse with the noxious steed. Julian tried to run but was quickly detained. As they were led away, the concert hall erupted in a standing ovation, not for the music, but for the maestro's perfect, devastating timing. Elias, exhausted but finally free, took a deep bow. He had lost a wife and a protege, but he had saved his true love, Thorne's legacy. He looked at the empty seats where his betrayers had sat, then gave one final, satisfied wave of his baton, ending the concert on a resonant chord of profound, dignified peace. What an incredible story of justice served through pure genius. If you were moved by this tale of the maestro's ultimate composition, make sure to like this video and subscribe for more stories you won't forget. Thanks for watching.